Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. So I am so used to being able to see people, to laugh, and I like the energy coming back. So if I say something you like, let me hear you since I can't see you. Is that fair? Is that fair? Let's do this. Let's do this. Let's do this. My name is Dr. Cheryl Jackson. I'm so excited to be here today. And they told me that I have about 12 minutes to connect with you. And my son says it so perfectly. He says, Mom, many communicate, but few connect. And I'm thinking for the last 2 decades, I have served our community and I've fed people through Minnie's Food Pantry, a charity that I started over 17 years ago. And I said, how do I talk about that in less than like 15 minutes? That's almost impossible, but I'm going to give it a try. Because I'm that person that goes outside of the box. And there's this circle here, and all I keep hearing them say is, you can't get outside of the circle. And it's something inside of me that's wanting me to just step to see like what happens when you step outside of this TEDx circle. And that's how I literally have lived my life. My mother told me when I was 2 years old, she said, I took my hand away from her and said, I can do it by myself. And she said, I started walking and doing everything by myself. But here's what I can tell you to be true. What I've done over the last 17 years, there's no way I could do it by myself. When I started Minnie's Food Pantry, I started because on June 18, 2004, I'm a pastor's kid, and my father, Robert Charles Hawthorne, he passed away suddenly Father's Day weekend. I went into a 3-year depression, and I lived across the street from my parents, and so my mother came over one day, and she said, Cheryl, she says, you're going to die. She said, you got to get up, and you got to do something with your life. And I was literally thinking to myself, but what can I do? And I heard this whisper, and Pam, when she started this off, we didn't all talk about our speeches, but she talked about whispers. There was this whisper that said, feed the hungry. And what you don't know is when I was growing up at 1 and 2 o'clock in the morning, if I was able to wake up and see the TV, I would all see the black children with flies on their face, and they were always hungry. And I would look at my father and say, Dad, is only black people hungry? Ain't nobody else hungry besides us? And then I got married at the age of 17. My husband and I, we were working 5 jobs collectively, and my dad told my husband, if you can't take care of my daughter, bring her back home. And so we couldn't make ends meet. I couldn't feed my children, and so I went and I applied for food stamps, and it was the most horrific experience I'd ever occurred. And so I remembered that feeling when God said that whisper, I call him God. When he said, feed the hungry, I said, okay. I looked at my mother and I said, I'm going to feed the hungry. I said, and I'm going to feed it in your name. Her name was Minnie. So when you hear the name Minnie, it's not Minnie Mouse, it's Minnie. My mom is Minnie Ewing. I love her. So all those parents out there, thank you. All those parents out there who don't think that your children are listening to you and they're watching you, this message is for you. Because I watch my mom and my dad, and I know some of my siblings are out there. I watch them, and every time someone would ring our doorbell, we didn't have much, but they would always say, give your best. If I tell my age, you're going to know I had post-toasted cereal or Frosted Flakes. And the Frosted Flakes came very, very rarely, but that's when someone would ring the doorbell. And Frosted Flakes, for some of you who are not as old as I am, that was the cereal that had the sugar on it. And so if Post-Toasties was there and Frosted Flakes was there, Mom and Dad's going to give out the Frosted Flakes, and me and my sister, we're just going to eat Post-Toasties with no sugar. But they gave the best, and I watched them give the best. And life got better for me. I wrote this business plan for Emmett Smith, Dancing with the Stars. Y'all know who he is, right? Yes, and I was the red carpet reporter for Entertainment Tonight. And so, I was thinking, wow, this is really great. And so how do I encompass that with feeding the hungry? What if a person that needed something as simple as their next meal could receive a healthy meal? Now, we're in Plano, the wealthiest zip code in the world at that time, and still is probably. But what if they came to a food pantry and there was a red carpet rolled out for them? Because I remember when I walked in, my head was down. Their head is down and they see a red carpet and they're walking it. And then they hear the sound of music, because my mother had us singing all the time. And my siblings, if you ask them, they'll tell you I couldn't sing, but baby, I could make a joyful noise. And so all the time, they would sing the notes, and I can hold a note in a bag, but I made a joyful noise all the time. And so when you come to Minnie's, you hear the sound of music. You see the people smiling. And before COVID, you saw us saying free hugs, because Miss Minnie gave the best hugs. And I was thinking to myself, I've really done it. This is really happening. And what I love about this space and place that we call Minnie's, over 40,000 people have volunteered there. They said nobody was hungry here, but 17 years later, we have 12 locations. We provided over 31 million meals and counting, and all systems are go. We've been named, yeah, I'll take it. I'll pause. Give it to me, give it to me, give it to me. And I'm pausing because I'm speaking and saying thank you on behalf of all of the hundreds of thousands of people that we have provided a healthy meal for. The beautiful thing about Minnie's Food Pantry is what my mother taught me. If you connect with people and you communicate with them, they will do exactly what you ask them to do. And we ask people at Minnie's Food Pantry, please don't judge. If you see a car pull up and it's a Mercedes-Benz, do you think that owner wanted to drive up to a food pantry? Of course he didn't, but he had to. During COVID, we opened up 7 days a week, and we went from 17 to 52 employees, and Mark Cuban helped us keep our doors open. Sid Marshall with the Mavericks, they helped us keep the doors open because it was such a need. These shoulders, I'm getting older, y'all. I think to myself, success without a successor is failure. People ask me, how did you get Oprah Winfrey to come and speak at Minnie's Food Pantry? It was really simple. If you watch the video, she'll say, I said no to Cheryl for 8 years. But my name is Action, and I don't give up. There's power in action. And unfortunately, I will have to tell you that when you take action and you decide, I'm going to live a life of purpose, there's a lot of things that's going to come with that. Mother's Day weekend, my mother died suddenly of a heart attack. So unexpected. That day she had orchids. We walked to Walmart and she picked out 4 orchids. And I said, Mom, we're not going to walk these back home. I'll come get them later. She passed away that night. I didn't think I had a voice. My sister Lynette, I know she's in here somewhere. She came to me and she said, you started this and you named it after Miss Minnie, our mom, but this is God's work. There's a call out very loud in my soul that says, who's ready to take action and do God's work? He says, when you do it to the least of these, you've done it unto me. People will say that those that are hungry, they should be happy. They should be excited for whatever we give them. I say the complete opposite. I say what Miss Minnie and Robert Hawthorne taught me, you give them the best. And when you give them the best, whatever you give, as Zig Ziglar says, when you do for one person, someone else will come and do it for you. I've lived that example. I remember I don't cook much, and my husband doesn't like it because I feed the hungry, and it just doesn't make sense. But I remember one day it was snowing out here, and so I decided since we couldn't get out that I was going to cook. And as life would tell, I have the scars to prove it on my foot because I dropped the bacon, all the grease on my foot. My mother said, Cheryl, you have 3rd-degree burns. You got to go to the doctor. I went to the doctor. The doctor said, listen, you can't go to work. I didn't go to work that day. I'm watching Good Morning America, and they said, are you doing something great in your city? Tell me about it. I said, well, yeah, we're rolling out the red carpet. They said, we're looking for a hero. Little did I know that if you don't take action, nothing happens. I filed it, boom, boom, boom. Let me just see what I'm doing in my PJs, y'all. Let me see if they'll choose me. Y'all remember Rihanna came in and she said, shine bright like a diamond. And she came in, over 300 news outlets came, and they covered the city of Plano, where some Plano people decided that we're going to come together and hunger will be unacceptable in our community. And that's what I love about this city. It is. I'm going crazy right now because I'm sitting here thinking about all of the things, what's happening in our community with ICE, and where some of the people are afraid to come to our food pantry because they're afraid that someone's going to stop them. They're trying to get a meal, but they're afraid to come and get a meal. But what I love about Minnie's is they're talking about what's going to happen with SNAP. SNAP, crackle, and pop. We have been funded by people like you. So we don't have to worry about the government. We don't. We don't worry if the government says we're going to cut back, because we don't cut back, because it's people that care about people. And so Rihanna came, and Jim Parsons came, and everybody has come to say we will lend our name and we will lend our help. And so again, my voice, I hope it's very, very loud to you tonight, because I stand here in complete gratitude. Gratitude because I was thinking about myself, and I was thinking when I started Minnie's, everybody was going to help, because my parents were pastors, and they said, you know what, you're supposed to feed the hungry, and there's churches on every corner, so I know everybody's going to help. They didn't. Not the churches. Then this is what I realized. We are the church. And so if we do what we know is right to do, we won't have anyone hungry around us. If you ask someone how they're doing, don't keep walking. Stop and listen for the response. Sometimes I tell people terrible just because I know they're really not listening. Make it a habit and take action moving forward that you're going to listen the next time when you ask that question. I live my life by a couple of phrases. I live my life by something that I told Miss Winfrey, and I believe it was one of the quotes that got her to say yes, because she called me and she said, "I'm sorry, your mother died." I was crying, and the sister saying, "Keep going," but I was like, I can't go. I said, "But Lord, if I'm supposed to keep feeding these people in plain old Texas, plain old people, give me a sign." It's Oprah Winfrey. That's a good sign, God. "I didn't know your mother died," she said. "I want to donate $100,000. Are you happy with that?" I said, "No, girl. I'm not happy with that." I said, "I need more. I need you to be my voice." What happens when you don't have a voice? What happens? Have you done something well enough that when you lose your voice, someone else will take over? The reason I ask that question is because my mom is gone, my dad is gone, my brother died at the age of 53, and my steps are getting shorter. I'm scared. What I don't want to happen is that if God decides he's going to take me home, my dad was 58, my mom was 68, I'm 56, who will be the voice? Who will continue the mission of Minnie's Food Pantry? Who will care enough? When you do it to the least of these, you do it unto me. I will close with this. I live my life by 3 phrases. Number 1, before I walk out of my house, I say, "Use me." God says he's looking for someone that he can just show themselves strong to, someone who will serve someone else, someone who will step outside of that circle and not be afraid. Could it be you? Would you be the person starting tonight that will take action and understand the power that you possess? Because I only started with 2 cans of corn, and it's really funny because I was reading dream, plan, do, and I'm like, I ain't dreamed nothing. I didn't plan nothing. I just did. I just took action, baby. I see you. I can see you. I can see you, and I can hear you. The next phrase I live by is thank you. There is so much power in action and gratitude. If someone does something like open the door for you, say thank you. I firmly believe that Minnie's is so successful today because if they gave me $1, I cried. If they gave me a nickel, I cried. Whatever someone gave me, I was grateful. Be grateful for whatever it is that you have. And the final thing I live my words by is every decision that I've made in the last maybe 5 or 10 years, because my mother and I, we would go walking every day. She was my neighbor. She passed away, and before she did, she would look at me and say, "Cheryl, I need to know you got it. Need to know you got it." Because all of us, as I stand here today in the center of this circle, is going to be standing probably in a place familiar called eternity one day. And when you're standing and the lights are shining bright on you, because my father would say, you're going to stand there by yourself. Like I told my mom, I can do this by myself. You're going to be looking up at someone. He's going to say, when they were hungry, did you feed them? When they were thirsty, did you give them drink? When they were naked, did you clothe them? Because if you did it to them, then you did it unto me. The last 2 words I would tell you at the end of every night, I'm now replaying in my mind, can I say the words well done. And if I can say the words, well done, can I hear him say the words, well done? So I look up to the heavens and I tell my mom, Miss Minnie, your daughter, she's got it now. She understands that she's living this life to live again. I wasn't expecting my father to go. I wasn't expecting my 53-year-old brother to go. And I certainly wasn't expecting my mother to go. Now I get it, Mom. One day I'm going to have to go. And honestly, one day all of us are going to have to go. What would they say about you? My father would say these words. He said, I never saw a U-Haul behind a hearse. You can have millions. You can have the mic. But if your millions didn't allow you to invest in the lives of people, then the words that I said to Miss Winfrey, success without a successor is failure. You don't have to answer this question to me. I want you to answer it to yourself tonight. Have I been successful? Have I taught my children? Have I taught my friends what it really means to take the power of action? There's been a whisper in your life that says you need to do more, and it gets louder. I heard that whisper, and with 2 cans of corn, I took action. What are you going to do with yours? My name is Dr. Cheryl Jackson. I am Minnie Hawthorne Ewing, Robert Charles Hawthorne's daughter, and I feel like I've just done something that I can say, well done.